Welcome everyone to Quality Control. This video is dedicated for Chapter 3, Part 1, for a better resolution to show how the Minitab or how you use the Minitab, because the examples were illustrated in that video, the Minitab screen was not clear or enough. So this is just to show you step by step how you do those tools on the Minitab, and then you can refer to that video for all the other explanation about the tools. We illustrated or we explained a couple of tools over there, how you do the stem and leaf, for example. The stem and leaf, which looks like that, and I'm going to use these data for all the examples that we're going to illustrate it today. So for the stem and leaf, we're going to use column 7, C1 and C2, the days and the claims. Um, let's just assume that you have a company and you are collecting over 9 days how many claims you have received in your company, and those that's mean the days for the 9 days and the number of claims you have collected. And the stem and leaf, basically you look for the 10th digit and 1st digit here, and you see how the 10th digit organized or illustrating the 1st digit associating with that number. For example, let's take here 3, and 3 has um, which is the 10th digit. We have how many numbers? We have 35, 36, 37, 36 again, and 36. So we have also some of those numbers where the 1st digit, العدد الأحاد, is repeated. For example, here, here, and here. So that's why you see العدد العشري, 10th digit is 3, and then the ones 5, which is this one, and then the 6, which is this one, and this one, and then the 7, which is that one. The same if apply for the 4, because 41 is appear once here, and 48 appears once. You can put also 1 and 8 if you want. It's okay, it's correct. There is no wrong with that. This one you can neglect it because the 3 is already representing all the frequency or all the numbers associating with the 10th digit of the 3 is already illustrated here. And the idea of the stem and leaf, if you remember, to show this distribute or the frequency and how the data is repeated over the time or distributed over the time uh, on the observations, I mean. So the 4, for example, you can have 1 and 8. There is no wrong on that. The 5, we have here 52, and that's mean the 2 is for the 1st digit associating with this number. Again, this is automatically generated. It shows that is like the most common frequent is the 10th digit of 3. أو خلينا نقول the values with the digits, the 10th digit is 3, is the most frequently appeared in the data. So this is the identification that I get from the stem and leaf. Which number or which value is repeated most? So I look for the 10th digit that has more 1st digit. So that means this data has values close to 30 are the most. معناها if these are claims, for example here, the claims around 30s, that means that most of my claims is around 30 claims I'm receiving per day. يعني في اليوم بستقبل تقريبا في الثلاثينات من اللي هو الشكاوى. How we do this stem and leaf here on the Minitab, you go to graph, then you go to stem and leaf, you press, then this one will be empty here. Those are the data. You put it here, it will show, be showing here in this box. So you double click, one click is not enough, you have to double click. So you will see the data, that's mean enter to the input, and then you can press OK, and then you see the data. There are other settings you can do to change the frequency or the increment between اللي هو الزيادات. All that you can do it yourself to try and test the features associating with that tool. Moving on to the other tool, oh, with the same, yes, with the same data, we're going to use the same data, C1, C2, for another tool, the scatter plot. The scatter plot, as we said, it shows the relation between two factors. If there is trends, it's similar to the run chart. It shows over the time how the data behavior, or if I have two factors, how they are interacting, or if there is a relation between them. Um, I have the number of days and I have the number of claims, and those are the number of claims over the days. Once I look to the picture, I see the number of claims are decreasing over the time. Maybe there is something in the division is being taking care of those claims and reducing or improving the process, so the number of claims are reduced, or other factors we cannot judge by this one only without further investigation in the process. How we do the scatter plot: you go to the graph, you go to scatter plot, and you enter OK. Here in the scatter plot, you can identify the y-axis and x-axis if the x-axis is not the time sequence. For example, you have quarters Q1, Q2, Q3 اللي هو أرباع في السنة أو other factor. It doesn't have to be even time. So this one here, it will be empty like that. You go here and you press the y-axis, the values of the y-axis you would like to have appeared in the figure. And in our case, it will be claimed. So you double click here and you double click there for the days, and then you press and hit the OK, and then the figure will come. You can do also the time series, which is similar to the scatter plot, except here the x-axis is always the time, and you don't have to put the x-axis. It will be all the time as a time series, because the figure is a dot plot or scatter plot, but the x-axis is the simple. You press here, you see you can only enter the observations of the data, and it will distribute it over time. So when you press OK, this the shape how it will look like. So as you can see, the x-axis you have no control, is considering this as a time or all the time where you use this tool. And the y-axis are the observations of the claims, and you see how the dots are connected to shows you how the flow looks like. For the histogram, we're going to use the C3 data, which is the metal thickness, سماكة الميتال, قطعة معدن. We're going to show the histogram. The histogram can be, looks like that, or without the normal distribution. You use the graph again, you go to the histogram, you select with the sample that doesn't have a normal distribution fit, like this one here appeared, or you can choose this one here with the normal distribution fit. It's up to you. This is depend on what you are looking for. Only you are looking for the frequency of the data, or you want to see the frequency with the fitting to the normal distribution. So in our case here, we choose that with the normal distribution fit. Again, this one will be empty. So you double click on the metal thickness, and let's see the data. It will show you the data with the normal distribution fit. It's because due to the number of, or the sample size is 10 is not enough. As you know, rule of thumb says over 30, at least to get some kind of shape of a data, how they look like, because we have a kind of flat here, but somehow it's normal because there is a decrease in the both sides, and more the majority of the data within the middle. If you have the mouse to any of those bars, it will show you the range between the range of each bar. For example, for this bar, the range is between 450 and 470, and the values appeared in this bar are two values, and that gives you even you can adjust those ranges different than the time stem and plot. You can adjust these ranges accordingly. For example, I want to do for 95 to 100 in one bar for the A, that's mean the 90 to 94 in one bar, and so on. So you can adjust those within the specification you have, or the features you have in the graph you want. And you can also all the time double click on the figure. You can adjust those titles. You can even save here. When you press to this arrow, you can copy the graph, you can edit the graph, you can save it. You have many things to do with the graph, and it will come with a better resolution. For moving on to the other tool is we have the box plot, which looks like that. You go to graph again, you go to the box plot, and you press. This is for a single data for the metal thickness. If you have, as we showed in the example of branches or mini stores, I want to compare their data. So you can choose this one here, and you enter the data for each branch individually, and it will show you the comparison between them. You can try these your own, but what yeah, what you are going to do after that is you will press OK, and then you will enter the data and then hit OK. So the figure will come. When you get the mouse near to the plot, this window will open with all information about the box plot. It shows the Q1, Q2, Q3 values, the median, and the range, and also shows the whiskers, which is the maximum value and the minimum value of the data. The maximum is 495 and the minimum is 405. So also here, another useful things in the Minitab. For example, you want to find the mean or the standard deviation or any statistical parameter you want to find. You go to calc, which calculator means. You go to the column statistics if the data are in a column, not in a row. If it's in a row, you select the row, but in our case, we will select the column. And we select the parameter we want to find, mean, standard deviation, sum, maximum, range. All these, you can use them. And for example, in our case, this one, it will be empty, and we selected the metal thickness. You can choose where it has to be stored. So you can say it's going to be stored in C8. So I want the value stored in C8. Or you can leave it without the column. It will show it to you in the window, as we will see. Okay, sorry, result. Okay, we can put it. So let's put it first without selecting the column, and let's press OK. Now the value here is appeared on the screen, as we can see that the mean value. Again, if you want to do that for the standard deviation, let's say, this is how it will appear. Okay. So these are the values of the statistical parameter you want to find. The scatter plot and the histogram, the box plot. Also, we have seen the time series, which is this one here. Most of the tools that in this chapter are here under the graphs. We can use them. Also, you can do the basic statistics, for example, descriptive statistics, the variables, let's say the metal thickness, and you can choose the statistics, all of them together that you want to find, and the graphs, you can select all the graphs you want to find for this data, and you press OK, and this gives you a nice statistical overview for the data. For the histogram with the normal distribution, the box plot, the individual value or individual plot for the data. Here, because we don't have it, somehow they are very, very close to each other. The variability is small. This is not, by the way, this is not a run chart, so you don't confuse with that. This is individual value. So basically it shows the value individually. This is not over time. So don't confuse that with the scatter or the run chart. Here, what you may need to find all the statistical parameters, mean, standard deviation, the Q1, Q3, the median, and the maximum. All of them are appeared together here in this box. Again, here, this one, you can copy it and you save it in your document. So this will be a short video just for explanation how you use the Minitab step by step, because that recorded session was not clear enough. I will post more videos later to explain more about the tools. Thank you for watching and see you later.